Hey, what's up guys? Alright, so in keeping with my promise to continue to cover the series, I am back with the newest chapter of Kaiju number 8, this past week's chapter. I want to say chapter 54. And this chapter, there's not going to be much to talk about when it comes to this chapter because, like I said in my last review, these next few chapters, maybe this one, the next chapter, and possibly the chapter after that, are all going to be just epilogue chapters dealing with the aftermath of Director Shinomiya's death at the end of the last arc. So, basically, we're not going to have really much to discuss when it comes to those chapters, probably some small details here and there. But I doubt we're going to be getting any groundbreaking reveals about Kaiju number 9 or any new Kaijus or anything like that, at least for the next 3 to 4 chapters. Now, this chapter is pretty much picking up where the last chapter left off, with Kaiju number 9 escaping, and basically Kafka and Narumi being the only ones who are currently conscious in the battlefield right now, and the two of them are just overly disappointed in themselves and angry with the fact that they could not kill the one who had killed Director Shinomiya. And then, to mark the official ending to this fight, we have this moment where Kafka turns his head back into his human form and just screams to the heavens out of anger and disappointment for not being able to kill Kaiju number 9. Then we cut to 2 days later and we see that the news is reporting on Director Shinomiya's death, while all the divisions are having their own ceremony, or at least I think it's their own ceremony. It's hard to tell based on the way the chapter splits it up, whether or not each division was actually present at the ceremony or not, but it seems like everyone's having their own ceremony, basically to honor the death of Director Shinomiya. And this was actually a pretty interesting moment because I believe this was the first time, right, first we got to see the 3rd division, so I'm actually excited to see them again. They're characters that we haven't really seen for the past few chapters, but I believe this is the first time we got introduced to, I believe it was the 4th and 5th division captains. We don't get their names in this chapter, but we get their character designs, which they both actually look pretty cool, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what's coming from them. In fact, I actually believe that they're the 2 divisions that the rest of the recruits from the 3rd division got sent to while their base is actually being reconstructed. So if I am right that this is the first time we got introduced to these 2 characters, then I think the reason why Matsumoto decided to introduce them now would be because that we're probably going to be spending the next 2 arcs dealing with those 2 divisions, basically just splitting up the time between the members of the recruits who got sent to those 2 divisions and seeing exactly how much they developed over their training over there. And actually, speaking of the recruits training, this actually brings me to the main topic of the video and possibly the most interesting talking point of the chapter. So during the ceremony, we find out that Kikuru is actually absent from it because we see this empty chair next to Kafka that she was supposed to sit in. And then we actually cut over to her being in the director's office, crying in his chair. And either before the ceremony or after the ceremony, it wasn't exactly clear which time this happens, but we actually have Narumi finding her in the director's office crying. And basically the whole point of their conversation comes down to that she asks him to make her strong enough to kill Kaiju number 9 so that she can finally put her dad's soul to rest, because she believes that even though Kaiju number 9 did kill him, he might still technically be kind of conscious in the body. And even though she doesn't have any hopes of like trying to save her dad, she does want to let his soul rest freely by putting it to rest and killing Kaiju number 9. Which has me wondering what's going to happen once all the recruits get called back to the 3rd division. Is she going to decide to stay with the 1st or go back to her friends? Personally, I'm thinking that with her quest for revenge and wanting to get stronger, she's going to decide to stay with the 1st division to train under the strongest captain. But, you know, I actually would prefer to see her go back to the 3rd division and be a part of the main cast, because more than likely Kafka will be rejoining the 3rd division. Now, he's probably going to fight tooth and nail to be allowed to go back to the 3rd division because the higher ups in the defense force are probably going to want to keep him under the 1st division's, you know, watchful eye. But I do believe that at some point, once the 3rd division actually is reunited with the entire recruits, that he actually will be allowed to go back to the 3rd division. Which means that once Kafka leaves the 1st division and rejoins his original team, the story is going to shift over back to that team. So she's going to be absent from the story for a long period of time if she stays with the 1st division. Which makes me think that the next time we see her in the story is going to be arced from now, and more than likely she's probably going to have an introduction the same way, you know, if you read Black Clover, the same way Noelle did when she was reintroduced during the Space Kingdom arc after training in the Heart Kingdom with the elves, where she just has this major power up and is one of the strongest characters in the series. And you know what, I'm actually looking forward to that because Kikuru has been proven to be a very strong character. Each time we get to see her in action, she has improved each and every time. Now, she has still never won against Kaiju number 9, but each time she has fought against him, she has improved greatly. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what she actually does when she trains in an army and we don't see her for a few arcs. And then after their conversation, the chapter ends when we see that Kafka was listening in on it and he walks away basically with the determination to kill Kaiju number 9. So yeah, it's pretty much where the chapter ends. This was a shorter video. There's not really much else to talk about from it because of the fact that, like I said, this was basically just epilogue, setting up what's going to be happening in the next arc, or kind of not really setting up the next arc, but setting up the future for Kikuru, where she's most likely going to be leaving permanently the 3rd division and staying with the first. Anyway, that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.